Welcome back to the channel, folks. Wildlife Ranger here on YouTube, where today we will look at another plant in the 50 Flowers in 50 Days series. The plant which we're going to look at in this video is known as cow parsley, or Anthriscus sylvestris, which is both a perennial and universal friend, adoring the hedgerow each year. So I hope you can join me to have a close look. Whilst cow parsley is one of the first flowering early white spring umbels, relatively easily identified because of its phenology, a word of caution should be exercised towards the end of the flowering season or the overlap of other white umbels, many of which are poisonous, such as the deadly hemlock. To summarise the habitat of this plant, it prefers sunny or semi-shaded areas, and during filming we have found it on meadows, grassland, hedgerows, woodland edges and even in urban areas. Cow parsley's ability to spread rapidly with rhizomes and large number of fruits in a single growing season means that it extensively occupies linear stretches such as fences, hedgerows and riverine corridors. In the illustrated clips that follows, we followed the plant from early April right the way through to the end of May, where the stands reached upward of 60 inches high. Welcome to my channel, folks. Wildlife Ranger here on YouTube. Today we're just doing the habitat roundup for this plant known as cow parsley, or Anthriscus sylvestris, and the clue being in the Latin sylvestris, meaning woodland, and not at all related to Sylvester Stallone out of Rocky. So this plant is known by a number of common names, namely cow parsley, mulleray, or a number of vernaculars. And today, as you can see, we are alongside the Calder Hebel navigation, which is this canal here, and to our left we have the Calder River, and it's quite an interesting linear corridor where we found plants like this grow. It's one of the first umbellers that we see in spring, so it's pretty much unmistakable. It can be confused with the chervils, and the chervils can be distinguished by their seed types. So today we'll have a little look at this plant in its final flowering stages, having looked at the early leaves at the start of April and followed the growth of the plant through to the end of the season, so that you can see the plant in its full capacity. Cow parsley is known by a number of common or vernacular names, none the least cow parsley, where we leave it to the beneficiary to offer a word of explanation. The name of Queen Anne's lace is derived from the delicate structure of the flower, resembling a fine lace, and folklore also indicates that when the entourage of the ladies in waiting of Queen Anne passed, the flowers would come into bloom. If we accept that the doctrine of signatures is the propagation of received wisdom, then the negative connotation in folklore of the term mulleray is an interesting one. The term mulleray was deliberately used to frighten young children into thinking that if they picked the plant, their mother would die. This was deliberately intended to deter children from picking the similar looking plant known as deadly hemlock. The derivation of the Latin prefix likely arises from the resemblance of the plant's fruit to a grain. Likewise, the Latin suffix means of the wood. As always, before we embark on our trip to the field, we look at the features and characteristics which will enable us to identify and find the plant in the field, beginning with the flowers. As always, we provide a slide containing detailed botanical characteristics, which may be stopped at any point for those who may wish to study the plant in more detail. Cow parsley is a member of the family Apiaceae and has a flower in an umbelliferous form. Cow parsley is a relatively tall plant growing between 24 and 60 inches tall. Umbels are of two types, either simple or compound, and cow parsley is a compound umbel, which this slide helps to illustrate and complements the details in the slide. Without getting bogged down in the finer detail of flower anatomy, the following slide indicates the position of the bracteoles on the flower umbel. Each little individual flower has 5 white petals with 2 stamens and 2 styles with an enlarged base, forming a swelling at the apex of the ovary. The phenology or flowering period of this flower is between April and June. We turn our attention now to the leaves of this plant, which are compound leaves as illustrated in the slide that follows. The leaves are triangular and fern-like and compounded 2 to 3 pinnate, roughly 30 centimetres by 45 centimetres long. Attention should be given to the stem of cow parsley, the stems being hollow, striate, i.e. with striped parallel longitudinal lines, in order to distinguish between the more poisonous hemlock with blue-purple splodges along the stem. It is not the intention of this video to give a detailed botanical account of the confusion species, although a slide follows distinguishing some plants by way of their fruit and seed. It is, however, worth taking time to distinguish the plant known as hemlock from cow parsley, and the following slide indicates some subtle differences. The leaves of hemlock are glabrous or smooth, whereas in cow parsley they may have fine hairs. In the stems of cow parsley they are striated and ribbed, and in the case of hemlock they are purplish and blotched. To the experienced eye, the leaves of hemlock are darker green and slightly glossy. Well, that's it from me, folks. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video and the comprehensive overview to the plant. Whether you walk past it this spring or next spring, I hope you will greet this perennial friend with a better understanding the next time you pass it. So I hope also you can join me on the next track in the 50 flower series to identify and find a wildflower in its habitat. Thanks very much again for watching. If you have enjoyed this video or found the information educational or useful, please like, share or subscribe this channel and help it become a success. Until the next one, stay safe and enjoy the weather.